Right now, we are 85 feet above Hollywood in one of those firemen's snorkels.
I'm sure you've seen the scoop on the side of the firefighter's truck. Now, it may sound a little frightening.
But firefighters do this every day, and in a way, it almost becomes routine.
They don't often think about the dangers involved in their jobs. Hi, I'm Karen Kelly.
And I'm Jerry Penacoli, and tonight on Channel 4's PM Magazine, we'll meet a South Miami man whose job is also very dangerous. We'll watch him on the flight deck of the USS Dwight D Eisenhower. One mistake could cause a catastrophe. Then we'll have the dramatic story of a woman with amnesia who must recapture her past. Also, Chef Tell prepares a delicious treat with oranges.
And attorney Stanley Rosenblatt has a good auto insurance idea.
All that for you.
Right now on Channel 4's PM Magazine, join us.
To the Department of Labor, the single most hazardous job in this country is that of a firefighter. Now, what you're watching right now is a Hollywood firefighter demonstrating a technique that he must use to rescue someone from a burning building when that person's inaccessible by ladder. Now, firefighters may have the most difficult job in civilian life, but when it comes to the military, working on the deck of an aircraft carrier has got to be one of the toughest jobs. And right now, we're going to meet a South Miami man whose split-second timing and coordination are crucial in keeping the jet fighters of the USS Eisenhower flying high. It's the length of 3.5 football fields. Powered by a nuclear reactor, it can theoretically stay at sea for 13 years at a time because it never needs to refuel. It carries 6,000 men, each of which perform an essential duty that keeps the ship afloat, the planes in flight, and our country well protected. The USS Eisenhower is one of the 2 largest ships in the Navy. It carries 100 aircraft, made up mostly of jet fighters. The 4 steam-driven catapults used to launch these aircraft can propel a jet from 0 to 120 miles per hour in less than 5 seconds. But a ship this size doesn't run itself. The sailors on board an aircraft carrier have what some feel to be the most grueling and dangerous jobs in the Navy. The Eisenhower was recently involved in war maneuvers with 20 other American ships off the coast of Puerto Rico. Under the command of Rear Admiral Jerry Tuttle, these exercises were designed to improve the fleet's readiness to deal with any naval situation that may arise.
Well, there's a lot of responsibility that I get the maximum out of this group and make sure that they are ready to deploy in a safe manner, ready to fight.
What is truly amazing about the Eisenhower in action is the absolute precision involved in operating a moving landing strip in the middle of the Caribbean. In what appears at first glance to be just a mass of metal birds taxiing in every direction in a state of total confusion is actually a very well choreographed operation designed to launch and recover as many as 28 aircraft in a total of 28 minutes. That means there's a jet taking off or landing every 30 seconds. Here's the way the system works. The Air Operations Officer decides how many jets are to leave the carrier to practice dropping bombs and firing missiles. That information is passed on to Flight Deck Control, which decides what planes to taxi where in what order to get them off on time. But it all eventually comes down to the men on the 4.5-acre flight deck. Men like Paul Fiore from South Miami. He's an aircraft director, and his job is to direct the planes into their proper positions for takeoff, and then assist them in clearing the landing area after recovery. In effect, he's sort of the policeman of the flight deck, and it's not an easy job.
I enjoy it more when, you know, when the things are getting good and everything's going right up there, but when one thing starts messing up, like I might not get a launch off in time, then it starts getting to you, because you know everyone's going to be at you, you know, yelling at you and getting things going in time to catch up.
The rapid pace on deck during flight operations is incredible. The men are working just a few feet from jet engines that are so powerful, their intakes could suck a person right into the turbines, and their blast could blow you right off the flight deck.
But when the new people come up, you know, it's pretty hard. See, sometimes they just put them on the flight deck. And they got to learn when they get blown down what to watch for, you know. You got to really watch out for is where not to walk. You got lines in the flight deck. You got to watch out for the intakes, especially on the A7s. They got big intakes. You got to watch out for the exhaust or the afterburners from Tomcats. Once you get to know what you got to watch out for, it's just like a daily routine.
As the jets are landing, it is Paul's job to get the pilot's attention, direct him to a parking area, and clear the landing strip before the next aircraft is ready to touch down. That gives him about 30 seconds.
A couple of times I had to run away from the line because, you know, they come in too close or they miss, and I might take a step out there and say, uh-oh, wait till they catch the wire, then walk out there. But usually I do wait.
The importance of the ground crew personnel can easily be underestimated, with attention always being drawn to these magnificent flying machines and their pilots. But they are not overlooked by the people in command of such a critical operation.
They're young kids. They're professionals. They live in a very dangerous environment. They work exceedingly long hours, but they're crucial.
The average age of the men on board is 19. On most days, they work a 12-hour shift, but that often grows to a 16 or 18-hour shift during maneuvers such as these. It makes the men grumble, but the Navy feels it makes them more capable sailors and better trained for combat. And to avoid accidents like last May's disastrous crash on the Eisenhower's sister ship, the USS Nimitz, or the more recent one on the USS Kitty Hawk 4 weeks ago. But through it all, our Navy still maintains the most powerful fleet of aircraft carriers in the world. And with 2/3 of the world's surface covered by water, the importance of a strong Navy is foremost in the minds of military leaders like Admiral Tuttle.
It's essential for the United States to have a strong Navy. It's almost basic and fundamental in my estimation. Perhaps it's because I've been close to it for all my adult life. You cannot be a strong nation unless you have a strong Navy.
For defending the Western Hemisphere and protecting American trade upon the high seas, we salute Paul Fiore and the rest of the men who keep the USS Eisenhower alive and afloat.